Hello my friends and welcome to episode 25. It is another deployment episode, so if that's not your thing, then look away in horror now. This is our first defensive engagement. The enemy actually goes before we do. And we got an amazing hero in the zero slots hero. Okay, so let's begin. We've unlocked the new IF-2 Panzer. However, it's not very slot efficient, but it is very powerful. So we are removing overstrength to upgrade here. However, one vehicle we're going to overstrength it to the max. Yeah. Why? Because I'm going to deploy my zero slots guy. Why this tank in particular for zero slots? Well, at 5 core slots, and so 10 for a 15 stack. It's my most expensive unit after my artillery. And as much as I would like another 21cm gun, I don't actually need another 21cm gun. It seems a bit wasteful. Right, rolling through the upgrades, there are a lot of just, you know, gimme. There are a lot of gimme upgrades, as in they're just better, full stop. No, like, you know, a little bit more expensive, but a little bit better. Now, the funny part here is this strat bottom is way better, but it is also quite core slot expensive. It's always worth checking the core slots as well, because, you know, you need to decide whether it is worth over-strengthening or not based on the core slot cost. You know, if you're going to over-strength, then you're going to go to 12 or 14, right? Makes sense. Okay. So, that's the main upgrading done. It was a shame that Pioneers are so core slot expensive. I wouldn't mind having slightly bigger stacks. So, what do we do with the extra core slots that we've been provided? Well, I've always wanted another recon car. They are very, very useful. So I'm going to add another one at 14 strength. One thing I want to do as well is... So this unit gained an unbelievable amount of experience points and power. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually transfer those heroes to a different tank so that that tank can start gaining experience like this one did. Because this is a defensive engagement and all we have to really do is just hold here. I'm going to deploy all my forces here and just let this go. Even though there are there's some cannon fodder there that has been provided by Romania and Italy. And this is a critical objective and this is a critical objective. The bottom line is that we are going to be attacked hugely. We always are in the first couple of turns, but especially so in a defensive engagement. So what we want to do is we just want to park here. All our units in one place so that we can defend the horde. These are supply tiles, so we can't be encircled. Win the day here over the next, say, 5 to 8 turns. Holding this area. And what you'll note is, there's no victory hexes over here. Or here. Or even here. There's no reason to go over here. Except if you want to get your hands on some prestige. So, it seems obvious to set up here, win this area, after the enemy is done attacking, of course, win this area, and then once you've won this area, then you can just push south to take this, to cut down this way. And that's all you got to do. And obviously you'll have to retake this because you'll undoubtedly lose it, but it's not not the biggest deal. The other benefit is that when the enemy captures your territories that you start with, when you capture them back, you get prestige for it, which is kind of a funny little bug, if you want to call it a bug. Right, so let's strengthen this dude. Rapid fire, double vigilant, and on the roll. Sweet. We could over-strengthen this boy as well. It's up to us. Or we could decide that now is the time to buy an additional tank. There's lots we can do here with our 5 remaining slots. You know, we could over-strengthen some of our stuff, make it more survivable. I guess now is the time to start developing another tank. So let's buy a let's buy another IFV. Okay, so looking at the area that we have to defend, this is a forest tile, so we want our best infantry in it. Then in the open tiles, I'm going to give this one some camo treatment as well. By the way, the reason why I'm not going to try and stick all the heroes on this brand new tank and really force it up is because it hasn't got steamroller. And I really need this to be making lots of kills. So unfortunately it will just have to sit there. Right, so let's put these bad boys right on the front line here. And say here. We need to then follow up with, and I'm parsing here with infantry. Our double support artillery needs to be on the front line. Now, I guess we also need one here. And here to ensure complete coverage so that everyone is protected. We'll have the heavy artillery, which is not really an artillery that defends well at the back. And of course our anti-aircraft gun. In the rear quadrant we have 2 more tanks, providing more rear strength. So the enemy is, I don't believe they're back here, so we're fine in this area. Another anti-aircraft gun can be provided. Finally, the team barbecue at the back, sealed off with a final set of infantry. Now the real question becomes, where do we deploy our recon cars so that they can join this battle? So, I had 2 thoughts about this. Let's just deploy our aircraft quickly. Seems pretty obvious to me that the correct way to deploy them is like this. So, we do want our recon cars involved in this fight. Undoubtedly a horde of Russian units is waiting to pounce on this. I mean, look, they're right here. They're right on our doorstep. But the Russians go first. We do not get to go first. They get to go first. So we could deploy them here. behind the cannon fodder. They might reasonably stay alive that way. And there's a lot of tanks here, so I wouldn't really want to put them here. I'm not sure if how much enemy presence is going to be pushing up this way either. So we can deploy later. So we'll leave them in a ready state. I think the bridge pirates can be reserved for now. We'll leave them in a ready state, and what will happen is these are supply hexes, so I can deploy into them. Once we start to get the enemy under control, we can deploy our recon cars. Because I don't think there's anywhere realistically that I can place them without putting them at great risk. And then I'll have to drive them away to try and keep them alive. Instead, it seems better to just resist the enemy here and then counterattack fiercely, as the general would say. So that is the strategy I came up with. I don't know if it's going to work, but it seemed reasonable to me. Hopefully the horde of Russians that are attacking here will just come up this way and fight me, and that's fine. We'll deal with them too. In the meantime, our tank with our on-the-roll steamroller dude can start building up power, ready to steamroller his way through 5 enemies a turn. Right, those are my thoughts on deployment. This might be an opportunity to deploy anti-tank guns and such as well, but I really do prefer the artillery because it counter-batteries both infantry and tanks, thus leaving you with no vulnerabilities. Now, one thing I do want to change is I can't remember where I left the 1.5 rate of fire dude, but I'm pretty sure it's on this artillery here. Now, this artillery is very, very powerful. I actually want the 1.5 rate of fire on the double support standard artillery, because that means that if the enemy attacks and triggers that artillery, they're going to get an absolute mauling. In fact, it might be better to put it on this one. And the only reason I say that is because, you know, you've got these enemies here that are going to push up into me, and I'm sure there's a horde here that's going to push down into me. And later on there'll be a horde that pushes across. I actually probably want to distribute power. Spread power around rather than concentrate it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And since the other one's got double support, it's not really core slot efficient to overstrength that. Let's go with overstrengthening this fighter a little bit more, so we can control the skies faster. And of course we can use our fighters to scout once we've blunted the Russian assault. Right, some other stuff that I considered just before I close out the deployment episode, which people can skip if they're not interested in deployment. I had a look at these new FLAM vehicles, but they're not, I think I looked at them last time as well, they're not that great. They seem all round better, but they change your movement type from treaded to half track, and half track is a vastly inferior movement type, so I wouldn't really go for them personally. There's a new tank here as well, which just isn't worth the effort, because it's still, the J1 still costs you an extra core slot basically. So you might as well go the whole hog and switch to IFV2s. There's no upgrades for infantry. I don't think there are ever going to be any upgrades for infantry. I think infantry is just infantry. In Panzer Corps One, infantry could be upgraded, be given better equipment. You know, you had like wear infantry, and then you had like wear infantry 41, and then wear infantry 43, and wear infantry 45, and it actually got better over time. But I think in this, where you know, your infantry is just going to sit there. Okay, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This completes my deployment for what I think might be a very tough fight. This is going to be my first defensive engagement, so it'll be interesting to see how being the defender plays out. But I've I've set up a wall here, so come at me, bros. Let's see how you handle this. But this is going to be... There's no way to attack this without at least receiving some artillery fire. Or if you're an aircraft, there's really no way to attack it without receiving a ton of anti-aircraft fire. So, let's see how they do. Meanwhile, our Zerglings will have to just be sacrificed for the glory of the fatherland. I'm going to make no attempt to rescue them. I might rescue these conscripts. They can be brought back to the front line and sacrificed. But yeah, that is it for now. Some of you enjoy these deployment videos and some of you don't, so it's nice to keep them separate actually when I'm going to have a big deployment, which this is. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.